You're listening to Storage Nerds Podcast, where we unravel the best-kept secret of the real estate investing world, the storage industry. Join the grassroots guru in self-storage, Stacy Rossetti, in insightful discussions about finding, funding, and running these spaces, allowing you to yield the highest returns possible. Get your foot in the door on self-storage and discover how to properly purchase facilities, negotiate with sellers, and close the deal without worries. Start unpacking that investment wisdom with Stacy right now.
I figured I'd go over another one of my deals. We're going to try to sell this deal. Okay, so I'm looking for offers on it. And then, so if you can hear me, please let me know. Just make sure in the chat. I figured I would just do a test run on one of my properties. And I talked to a realtor this morning. I was like, I'm trying to debate if I want to just sell this property myself or if I want to list it with a realtor. And so we're like, this property that we want to try to sell, this is our, I think it was our second property. Yeah, it was our second property that we bought. And we're ready to just, it's a small property. It's a good property for us to learn on, but we're ready to sell it and move on to like a bigger property. So that's kind of what I wanted to show y'all today. So as everybody starts to come on, I appreciate you guys saying hi to me and listening in. And so if you guys are here and you want to learn how to get started in self-storage investing, this is kind of what I do every Wednesday. I hop on Zoom and I'll just go over some random topic about self-storage investing. And it's a good way to just kind of get some different ideas on how to get your foot in the door. Now, if you own a storage facility, let me know. So I know, where, who's listening to me. But if you're here and you're trying to decide whether or not this is something that you want to get into, you're definitely in the right place, because that's what I do, is just teach people how to get started in self-storage investing. Now, real fast, I wanted to just pull up my website and just share that with you. So this is the stacyrossetti.com website. This is where you probably came to register for the webinar. And I wanted to point out a couple of things. My book, Find Them, Fund Them, Run Them, is coming out soon. Right. So if you are interested in reading, if you're a book person and you want to read, then make sure you put your name on the web form here, and you'll get notified when the book is available. I'm really excited about that. Another thing is that we have the course available. I always talk about how you can get started in self-storage investing. I teach here every week for free. So you can come here anytime you want and listen. But if you want everything in one place and you want to be able to just go through a course step by step by step, that is what this is. So this is the super simple self-storage online course, right? And this is available if you're interested in purchasing it. Okay, it's right on the website. Now the price is typically $19.97. Okay, but if you after the end of this session, if you fill out the feedback form, there's like a feedback form that comes in your email. If you give me some feedback on how this session goes, whether it's good or bad, doesn't matter to me. And I'll take any criticism just so I can learn. I got a lot of people tell me like stuff that I do wrong as well. So it's good. I'm like, okay, yeah, I could try that. But so if you fill the feedback form out, then you will get emailed a coupon for $1,000 off. Okay. And then you could buy the course and you could just go through it. Okay. On top of that, I also offer the deal analyzer. And the deal analyzer is, I'm going to kind of show that to you today as well, so you can get an idea of what it looks like. And you can learn how to run numbers, run commercial deal analysis. Okay, so that is here. Okay, you can buy that here. And then also we have what's coming up on May 18th and 19th is a 2-day virtual boot camp. And that is like funding. It's all things like, how do I fund my storage facilities? Everybody always thinks you could just go, you just go to a bank and get a loan. But the truth is banks are being like super conservative right now. The best time to learn how to fund property or fund real estate is now, because the banks are really conservative and being really like, they're just being crazy with their numbers and stuff. So it's really hard to actually get a loan from a bank right now. So that means that you kind of have to think outside the box. That's what this funding is. So we're not going to talk a little tiny bit about traditional financing, which is going to the bank, but most of the time it's going to be about like creative deal structures and raising money, because that's what I do. So I have 16 facilities and only one of them is bank financed, and the rest are from raising money and creative deal structures. So that's kind of what I'm going to teach in the 2-day boot camp. So if this is something where it's like, I want to get into self-storage investing, and I have maybe a little bit of money saved up, but not really a lot of money saved up. I know I'm going to need more money in order to get into this niche. How can I find the money to purchase a facility, or maybe purchase 2 or 3 facilities? And so that is what this boot camp is about. It's on Zoom. You just stay at home, just like me, just sit in your chair all day, sit on your couch, and you just take notes. Okay. Okay, so this is the bootcamp. You can register for that. And then on top of that, right now we have the doors to StorageNerds. The StorageNerds coaching program are closed. And I only open those doors like maybe a couple times a year, like twice a year or something like this, whenever I feel like I can actually take on a few more students. But that's where, if you want like one-on-one coaching, it's there. Okay, so you can come in, but you can get on the wait list, and then when the doors open, you can get notified. And that's the coaching where I'm holding your hand and guiding you through how to do this. And there's masterminds, and there's like boot camps and all kinds of stuff. Okay. And then finally, we have the acquisitions. And this is where, if you do not have time to look for property and you want leads sent to you, this is what Turnkey Acquisitions. I have 10 virtual assistants that do nothing but call owners. And we're one of the largest storage acquisitions companies in the country. And we call owners and we make offers, and then we hand those properties over to the students. Okay, so if you want something like that, that's what Turnkey Acquisitions is. I only open that door, only open those doors a couple times a year, but you get on the wait list as well. Okay, so that's kind of what I want to show you, is if you come to this website, pretty much anything that you need in the storage industry will be there. And then finally, my podcast is there. All right, so if you're driving around and you need something to listen to, listen to my podcast. My podcast is everywhere. So you can come to the website, you can go to Audible, you can go to iTunes or whatever it is, wherever it is, that's where it's at. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's enough about me. All right. So now what we're going to do today is I was going to talk about my Noonan deal. All right. And if you buy the course, there's the first 12 facilities that I bought are case studies. And I go through in depth how I bought each one of those facilities. Those first 12 facilities that I bought, I was 100% financed. I didn't put a dime of my own money into purchasing any of them. And so I talk about how I did that, and running the numbers and deal analysis and all kinds of stuff is what I did. But so that's in the course, but I kind of want to give you an overview of what I did for this Noonan one. And then we want to sell this facility. And this, if you don't know where Noonan is at, it's in Atlanta. And let me share my screen. And also, the good thing about today is I'm going to show you kind of internally how Turnkey Acquisitions works and how our process works, so that you can get an idea of how you can set your systems up and be a little bit more, organized and automated in trying to do these things. Because the hardest part about investing in self-storage is finding really good deals. And what that means is that you have to ultimately put in a lot of offers, a lot. All right. And then, so if you have to put in a lot of offers, that means that you need to be either talking to a lot of owners, or you need to be on Crexy or LoopNet or wherever you're at looking for deals. And it takes us, like, internally for Turnkey Acquisitions, it takes around 250 calls just to find one owner that's interested in an offer, right? 250 phone calls to owners in order to find one that wants an offer, the one that will actually give us the information. A lot of people say, yeah, give me an offer, and it's like, okay, well, give us this information. Then they ghost you. Okay. So that's normal. But, out of 250 tries, one of them will actually take the time to give you all the information you need in order to make an offer. So that's what I'm talking about. And so then it takes us from 250 phone calls down to one offer. It takes us 50 offers just to get one deal, one facility under contract. 50 offers. Okay, so if you can imagine, that's a lot of phone calls just to get one deal under contract. And so because it's a lot of phone calls and it's a lot of like deal analysis, trying to put offers in, running numbers, this kind of stuff, it's super duper 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 time consuming. This is not easy. All right. Can't just go on to Crexy, look for a deal and like put an offer in and you get it. It just doesn't look, it doesn't work like that, you know. So especially because there's so much competition out there. It's a little bit more difficult right now to find deals because financing is hard to come by. If you are the type of person, if you're thinking right now, I want to buy a storage facility, and the only way that I'm ever going to buy a storage facility is by going to bank and getting a loan, then really your buy box has become this big. Okay. And so what I teach is like, you know, you want your buy box to be as big as possible. And I see this a lot in all my students as they come in and they say, you know, I want to buy a storage facility that's right next to me, like an hour away or 30 minutes away or 2 hours away. And so what happens is that buy box is now shrunk. And then on top of that, the only way I can ever buy a storage facility is if I go to a bank and get a loan. So then, you know, if you have something within 2 hours and you can only get a loan on it, your buy box has gotten like really small. Okay. So right now in this industry, you want your buy box to be as big as possible because that will give you the more opportunities and the more chances of being able to find something that you can buy. And so what that means is that you really need to be open to, you know, any type of deal and any place, really, you know, because there's so much competition. There's really not a lot of storage facilities out there. You know, I was just talking to, let's see, let's go to Crexy. And for sale, I'm on Crexy and it's for sale self-storage, right? And your results are 996. So there's 1,000 storage facilities for sale right now. And then if you want to say like, I'm going to buy something $2 million or less, okay? Or that's the min. Let's do max. There's 703 storage facilities that are less than $2 million listed right now on Crexy. And then there is 500 less than $1 million. Okay. And there is, let's see, less than 500,000. There's 300 across the entire country. It's like the whole country. All right. So there's only 1,000 storage facilities that are less than $2 million. How many people here, put it into the chat, you can afford a $2 million facility? About what can you afford right now based on like what you're thinking in your mind, right? Because that's different than, you know, what you can actually afford. The other website, yeah, so Crexy is kind of like how I just keep an eye on how many storage facilities are different prices based, you know, for sale on different prices, so that I know how the market is. There's more storage facilities for sale now than there was like a year ago, but there's not really a lot of storage facilities. There's only 50,000, maybe 60,000 storage facilities in the country. And, you know, there's only 1,000 storage facilities. There's 1,000 people that have said, yes, I want to sell my storage facility right now. Right. I said just 1,000 people, you know, so, you know, so I think, and so out of that, 300 of them are over $2 million. So those are probably like bigger players and stuff like this. So really mom and pops, you have maybe 1,000 people, maybe 500 to 700 mom and pops that are willing to like sell. Okay, so it's just not a lot of options out there. So you want to have your buy box big, right? And you want to be able to have different ways to finance your deals. All right, that's like the two most important things in self-storage investing. All right, of everything that you can think of, right? So, and especially if you actually really want to buy something. Okay, so now what I do, the way that it works for me is that like my first 10 facilities that I bought, they were all like small facilities, okay, where they were all in Georgia. We started getting into Florida, and they're less than $1 million for sure. And, you know, and we just like, we had like enough facilities for just me, my husband, and like one or two other people, like really maybe two or three people to manage, because they were only like maybe, 60, 70, 100, less than 150 doors. All of our facilities, our first 10 were less than 150 doors. And so then what I would do is I would just go around and ask people for money, and say like, hey, I want to go buy this facility. It's 300,000 or 500,000 or 600,000. Would you be interested in like lending this money to me? And they say, yeah, sure, we can lend it to you. And so that's kind of how I bought all my storage facilities in the beginning. This is one of them. The one that I'm going to show you, Noonan, is one of those facilities. Now, when I got started in self-storage investing, this is back in like 2017, 2018, when I was buying my first facility. Like I bought this one, I think in probably like either 2017 or 2018. I can't remember. So we've had this one for quite a long time. And it was back when like nobody was interested in self-storage. Like self-storage like was not the topic. That was when like, I don't know if you guys have been in the game for a long time. I've been in since like 2010. But like in 2016, 17, 18 is kind of when multifamily started to get really big. And everybody started to like want to invest in multifamily. And I looked at multifamily, but it just wasn't my thing, so we didn't do that. We ended up getting into the storage world. So back in the day when I bought these facilities, okay, I did not pay a lot of money because like nobody wanted to buy storage. There was no competition. Like I would go driving for storage and I would go and talk to owners and I would be like, look, I'll pay a couple $100,000 for this thing if you're interested. And they'd be like, yeah, sure. And that was it. Like I'm telling you, the first 10 facilities that I bought were literally on handshakes. And I got them for like, 30 cents on the dollar, maybe 25 cents on the dollar, something like this, like every single one of my facilities. That I'm telling you, that is not the case anymore. Now, in a downturn, prices do come down, right? In a downturn, that's when you're going to see like, facility prices come down. Like I have a student that if she would have sold her property 2 years ago, she would have gotten $7 million. And now like they're offering her $5 million for the same property. Right. So you either have to sell them at a cheaper price if you want to sell them right now, or you have to hold on to them until, money is easier. Most people cannot buy property unless they only go to a bank. And that's it. Most people cannot comprehend how to buy something if it's not from a bank. Okay. Unless you learn how to do that. And this weekend I'm going to like a fund conference, and that's all I'm doing for the next 3 days is just learning how to syndicate, learning how to raise money, learning how to put funds together. And I syndicated 6 facilities last year. And, I'm planning to put a couple funds together this year. And, that comes with the territory, especially in commercial real estate, because the truth is that commercial real estate is expensive. And, you can only really leverage yourself on like maybe 1 or 2 facilities through a bank. So if you're listening to me right now and you're the type of person that wants to own more than 1 facility, then your job as an investor is to become a fundraiser. That's really what your job is. And luckily I got taught that quite early on in my investing career. And I became like within the second year that I was investing in real estate, I became a fundraiser. And that's how I've been able to buy 16 facilities and not really put any of my own money into any of them. And that's what I'm telling you guys as well too. And so over the course of the next couple of weeks, I'm really pushing money because I have obviously the funding boot camp is coming up, and I want as many people that want to learn how to do this come to that boot camp. But I want to raise an awareness in anybody that listens to me. If you are listening to me right now, then you have been, you should be thinking about, why am I here? And like, what is the purpose of me listening to this? And the purpose is like, if you want to get into this industry, you have to learn how to raise money. You have to learn how to do creative deal structures. Okay. Because otherwise it's just not going to work. It ain't. You're going to be that one person that owns one facility and then that's it. And you cannot make money, enough money to live off of one facility unless it's over like, maybe $3 million. Okay. If it's a big facility, maybe. I have a student right now that he just closed on a $2.5 million facility. He did a student showcase for us yesterday in our mastermind. So that's kind of how I have it on my mind. But he closed on a property. It was $2.5 million. The property was making $17,000 a month. And you're like, whoa, $17,000 a month, man, I could totally live off that, right? His mortgage is $7,000. He has a management company managing it, which is almost the equivalent of him managing it, right? But he has a management company that's $5,000 and his expenses are also $5,000. So he is like breaking even. In fact, in the very first year, he'll have to come out of pocket. And in the second year, most likely he'll have to come out of pocket as well too. But he'll start making money in year 3, 4, and 5, and he'll be able to double the value. He'll make like $3 million on this property by year 5. So, but like most people cannot fathom how you can, like, how can you do this? Like, can I live off of a storage facility? And he is not even able to live off of a $2.5 million facility. Not until he's 3 or 4 or maybe 5 years into owning the facility will he be able to make enough money that he can pocket it and live off of that. All right. So that's how it is in the storage world. Even bigger facilities take a long time. And people ask that question to me quite often. That's why I'm bringing it up. It's like, oh, how many facilities does it take for me to live off of a facility? And, and he has a $2.5 million facility and he's coming out of pocket right now. Okay. So that's the way it is in the storage world. Any thoughts on that? Put it into the chat, or questions, put it into the chat. Now, while I'm here, I want to go into my Noonan facility, and I just want to give you guys an idea. Now, obviously, this is a small facility, and a lot of people, they think, oh, I need to buy a small facility to get started. And these small facilities are great facilities to learn how to get your foot into the door. That's what I did. And, and I want as many people to get into this industry as possible, but you have to have a game plan. The game plan is, okay, what can I afford right now? What can I do right now to actually get my foot in? And the people and those that actually buy a storage facility, even if it's a small one and they don't really make a lot of money off of it, those are the ones that are eventually going to buy 2, 3, 5, 6, or 10 more facilities. Right. But if you sit there, like I see a lot of people like looking at facilities and only looking for that diamond in the rough. Where's that one facility now that I can make a lot of money, cash flow it, double, triple, 5 times the value? And those properties are really just few and far between, just because just because it's hard to get, bank financing for. The interest rates are so high. And also there's a lot of competition out there. There really is a lot of competition. So this facility that I'm showing to you, this is a very good facility where you can get your foot into the door. You can learn how to do this, and you can create some momentum, right? You can create this energy inside your life where you're like actually able to create another one and do another one again, right? That's the whole purpose. Okay. All right. And then Ronald asks, is there a minimum size you can recommend? The minimum size that I recommend is what can you afford to get your foot into the door? It doesn't matter if it's a little teeny tiny facility or if it's a $3 million facility. What can you afford? And, that's one thing, like, because the student Rick, and actually Rick is going to be on next Wednesday. I asked him to come and tell his story of this facility that he bought, because, he's going to inspire you the way that he's thinking and stuff. But like, everybody has their own parameters. Everybody has their own amount of money that they can afford. Everybody has their own like thought process and mindset and stuff, so so like there's no rule on what you should buy and what you should not buy. And if there's anybody that's telling you a rule, then they just are, it's only their biased opinion. That's it. Okay. So Ronald, how much can you afford? What can you pay for right now? You know, what are your goals? What do you want to do? That's kind of what it is. If you can't afford a lot, then like just buy something that you can afford. You know, that's my personal opinion. Okay. That's what I teach, you know, but okay. Um, okay, so let me get into my process. The process here. Sorry, Charlie says, I have 50,000 cash. Can you do anything? If so, can I start to? Yes, you can do $50,000. I mean, look, $50,000 to somebody that owns like has like $10 million is not a lot of money. But $50,000 to somebody that doesn't have any money, like doesn't, you know, has a couple $100,000, is a lot of money. So $50,000, if you learn how to do, if you learn how to do creative deal structuring, $50,000 can buy you a lot if you can get somebody to sell or finance a deal, right? So for instance, like right now, I have a student that is trying to buy a facility for $1.8 million in Tennessee, and he is getting it seller financed with $50,000 down. Now, in his mind, he would have never, ever, ever thought that he could buy a $1.8 million facility, ever. But he found an owner that was willing to work with him and sell or finance it for $50,000 down. Now, that's not the case with everybody. It doesn't happen all the time, but every once in a while it does. So, like, I mean, what I try to tell my students is like, you know, think outside the box. You know, $50,000, if you go to a bank and get a loan, they ain't gonna buy you nothing, right? It can buy you a couple $100,000 maybe, and that's it. And there's nothing wrong with buying that. Or you can learn how to leverage your money, right? And you can also bring partners in. I have a student that bought a $3 million facility and they only had $150,000 and needed $750,000 for a down payment. Okay, so like, how do you do that? You have to learn how to raise money. Okay, so the amount of money that you have is only like as small as what you can think. So that's why you got to educate yourself on having a bigger buy box and having, you know, being good at creative deal structure. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you today. Okay, so I'm going to get into that. But all right, share. This is kind of how we do it internally is we have, so this is our miscellaneous Noonan facility. Noonan, Georgia is a suburb of Atlanta. All right, so it's a very, very good location. It's one of the fastest growing counties in the country. I'm sorry, in the state of Georgia. And then the way that we set our folders up is we utilize Regrid. If you don't know Regrid is it's a free site where you can look up parcel data, right? They also try to upsell you a lot is what they do, but you could just put your address in and they'll give you parcel data of each property. And so we use this site for like to learn about the property. And I'll show you that here in just a minute. We have photos of the property. We've got the bird's eye view, the Google Maps view of where the property is located. We've got financials. We've got the executive summary. I'll show you what that is. The demographics of the property, right? So like, you know, what is the household income? How much the population? This kind of stuff. And then, competitors and the 3, 5, and 10 mile radius, like demographics. Okay, so this is everything that you need to know about whether or not your property is a property that is a good property to buy. Outside of the deal analysis, which I don't have in this folder, but the deal analysis plus these things. So you're more than welcome to just take a screenshot of this. And then once you start looking, like for facilities, like what we do is every facility, we just set up a Google Drive folder and then we make sure that all this information for each one of these folders is in here. Okay. And then, so that way we can keep it a little bit more organized and systematized. And then we create what's called an executive summary. The executive summary looks like this. Okay. So you can see the picture of the facility. And then the address, you could see the unit mix, of the facility. So we've got 5 by 10, 10 by 10, 10 by 20, 10, and so 10 by 20s. And I think my dog's trying to get in. And so this is 5 by 10, 10 by 10, 10 by 20s. This is what we have at this place. And then we also have parking, 10 by 25. I'm sorry, yeah, 10 by 25, 10 by 35, and 10 by 45. Okay, so these are the unit sizes that we have. Here's some pictures of the facility. This is what it looks like. Here's the Google Maps. So you see, this is Atlanta. This is where Miss Lillian Self-Storage is. This is just a suburb of Atlanta. It's located in Georgia. And this is the property itself right here. So you can see there's parking, and then there's like 2 buildings. Okay. And then this is a satellite view, right? Here's the property over here. You can see the parking, and then you can see the buildings. This is on a very, very busy like route, state road is what it's on. The demographics is there's about 43,000 people in Noonan. In a 3-mile radius, there's 15,000. In a 5-mile radius, there's 43,000. And in a 10-mile radius, there's 100,000. So again, it's like just a very good suburb of Atlanta. Okay, this is the regrid information. This is the information that you will get off of regrid for free. And this is you could see, I like regrid because it shows you like the boundaries of the yard and how big the yard is, can you expand or not, this kind of thing. And then all, the tax information and this kind of stuff, owner information, parcel, acres, it's 2.29 acres, so how big it is. And then we also have all the competitors. So you can see this one is 4.2 miles away. It's an indoor climate control, indoor storage facility. And so it's U-Haul. This one is Noonan. I'm sorry, a Noonan self-storage is 2.7. So this is a good competitor of ours. You want to know who your competitors are because you have to do you have to do competitor analysis. You got to look at it and see what they're charging. Grayson is 4.7 miles away. And then Secure Care is 4.2 miles away. And Storemark is 4.8 miles away. So really the closest storage facility is 3 miles away. There's really not a lot of storage next to us. And then the rest are like 5 miles away. Okay. So it's actually a pretty good, that's why we always stay full. Okay, on this. So I'm going to go back to the folder, not this one here, this folder. Yeah. So back to this folder here, and this information, regrid, photos, Google Maps, the demographics, the competitors, the population, all this information outside of the financials is what we put onto the executive summary. The executive summary is just a summary of the properties. You could just open this up, take a look at it. And so we put this together for every single one of our properties that we buy, and it helps me to be able to just have everything that I need in one spot. Okay, so that I don't have to sit there and open every single one of these folders because it's annoying. All right. And we always label everything, everything so I know where to find it. Okay, so this is our system right here. Okay. Now, what I wanted to show you is that I'm going to get rid of this here, get rid of this, is this is what it looks like inside of StorageNerds for us. This is StorageNerds. StorageNerds is the software that we use to manage our facilities. And so then that way, you guys can have an idea what StorageNerds looks like too. Okay, we use StorageNerds. And so you can see here, and this is this is the dashboard. Okay, so we've got 11 leads already for the month. We've got 45 tenants. We're 84% occupied, and we've got 19%. There's 11 units that are delinquent. Okay, is how it is. And then here you can see here that we've got 58 units available and then 10 vacant units. So there's total 68 plus 1 owner's unit is complimentary. So there's 69 units total. Okay, is what this is. And then you can also see what's really good about is that you can have the information of how long everybody stays, right? You could see that on the delinquency, you've got 11 to 30 days, 8 of them. So there's eight people that just haven't quite paid yet. And the way that it works for us is like it goes by state law, but on the 6th, it's considered late. You get a fee. And then I think like on the 15th, you get an overlock fee. I can't remember what it is. And then by the 23rd, I think, yeah, the 23rd is when you start the auction process. Okay. And so you could see here that we're in 11 to 30 days right now for 8 people. So, and there's always going to be people that just push it all the way to the very end, and then they pay like at the very end and stuff. Okay. And that's just how it is in this world. And then we have 2 days that are like super duper late, two people that are really late. We'll look at those here in just a minute. And then we've got 30 to 60 days, 1. Okay. And these right here, these 2 people, they may be somebody that we did a payment plan for. I don't know. Because I don't manage really anything. I just teach. But we can see, and we go to past due on the left. And you could see, yeah, one of them is 229 days late, and the other one is 138 days late. This is from last year. So I'm guessing that they're in the auction process now, but I'm guessing that they had payment plans set up and then they just never like followed through, is what it was. Okay. But everybody else, like, we're just calling to make sure they're 16 days late. Like, we're all these people, like, we just call them and say, hey, you're late. You know, they get text messages and emails and all kinds of stuff. Okay. Let's go back to the dashboard so I could show you here. This right here is where you can see, actually right here, this is what I'll show you, how long people can stay. This is called your customer lifetime value, is what it's called. Okay. And so you could see that we have 12 people that have been there for 2 years plus, 1 to 2 years, 11 people. So a lot of people are staying for a really long time, even though they call in and say they only need their unit for a month, they end up staying for years. 6 to 12 months, 9 people, 5 people for 3 to 6 months, and 1 to 3 months is 8. So these are people that are coming in, moving in, they're new ones. Okay. And so that you can, this is what we call our customer lifetime value. This is how we figure out how much money we can spend on marketing in order to get new people in the door. Okay, so it's a very important area. And then here is the occupancy, right? So you can see 58 occupied and 10 vacant. Okay, let me show you what this facility looks like as well too. Here's the map. Okay, and so you can see here the 2 buildings, 1, 2. We have a couple of 10 by 10s that are, you know, late right here. These are the ones that we're calling and trying to get them to pay. The green is the ones that are available. Those are 10 by 10 units. And then there's some 5 by 10 units that are available. And then the red is the 5 by 10s that are late. And then these are the parking spots. These are all full. We have no availability of RV parking. Okay, boat or RV parking. These are typically boat over here, and then these right over here, this is where we do all the RV parking. Okay. So this is kind of what it looks like. Basically we bought this facility and stabilized the property. This is an income producing property where what you're going to be doing when you buy this property is you're going to be managing it. There's no CapEx. There's nothing that needs to be fixed. There's no unrentable units. You can see here that there's no doors broken. There's no latches. If it was unrentable, it would have a gray look to it. Okay. So there's really this is an income producing property with just, you buy it and you're going to be just making money off of it. Okay. All right. And then I pulled this up right over here in StorageNerds. You could see the reports. I pulled it up right here. I pulled up the management summary is what it's called. And this really just gives you, we look at this like almost every week, not every facility every week, but we look at this like every week. And we're always just trying to keep an eye on how our, numbers look on every single property. So this is why we like the management summary. I pulled this up through the end of last quarter, right? So we can get an idea on a quarterly basis. Like, how are we doing? What are we doing? Okay, so you can see here total revenue for this month, for last month was $6,400, and our year to date was $16,000. Okay, and last year we made $55,342. Okay, and that's 80% occupied. We are a negative rental of -1, year to date -2. right? So we're always having people move in and move out. That's how it works, right? This year, we've had 16 move-in. I'm sorry, we've had 37 move-ins this year. Just think about that. 37 move-ins this year, and it's only April. And this month, we've had 16. All right, so people like in the storage world, people are coming and going. So you have to always consider, like, if I'm going to do 16 move-ins a month or 37 for the year, how much time is that going to take me? How am I going to manage this thing? Right? Am I going to have somebody answering the phones? Am I going to be the one? 16 move-ins doesn't mean 16 calls. 16 move-ins means like it takes a lot of calls to get 16 move-ins. Okay. So you have to also think about how much time and effort it's going to take to be able to manage this. Are you going to call? Are you going to answer all the calls yourself, or is it going to be, where you're going to have a call center and they're going to answer the phones and handle this for you? Okay. And then, like we talked about auctions, your auctions also take quite a lot of work as well, right? So who's going to manage that? Are you going to do that? You're going to get a third party company to do it, or, this kind of thing, right? And then you could see the revenue for the month to date and the year to date. So you could see rent, fees, insurance, and then miscellaneous. So we have, like, for us internally, because we have a lot of facilities, a lot of tenants, but we have like one person, and that does nothing but collections. Like, her job is collections. Like, as soon as somebody is considered late, and we split those up into 2 different periods. It's like less than 30 days and then more than 30 days. And then we're just like, so our fees, like to get our fees and stuff, is really, we do really well. Because I told the person, I was like, you have to pay for your job, so like make some money for us. Right. So our fees are actually really good because we have somebody that is their job, is to like get people to pay. And then we'll negotiate fees and stuff. And then what we'll do also is we'll negotiate, we'll barter reviews for fees. We will take your fees off if you give us a 5-star review. Once you give us a 5-star review, send it to us and then call us back, and we'll remove those fees. And then all you have to do is you have to just pay what you owe us, for the monthly rates or whatever. So we do that quite often as well too. So we have like a ridiculous amount of reviews on all of our storage facilities as well. But that's a little tip for that. So we're like, because I was talking to the realtor, the reason I brought that is I talked to the realtor today. He was like, you guys make a lot of money on fees. And I was like, yeah, because like that's how we work. Okay, so hang on. Okay. So yeah, so here's the income as of now. Here's our credits. You see, we gave that. This is this. So it cost us $450 this year for reviews. That's what it cost us to get the reviews. How much is a review worth to you? That's the question, right? How much would you give up for a review? I'll give up all my fees for a review. Okay, discounts. This is another, probably discounts and credits are probably the same thing. Waived fees and then write-offs. Okay, this is probably all the same thing. It's like just that's us trying to negotiate them actually getting us to pay. Like actually getting the tenants to pay is what it is. And then receipts are here. Let's see. And then here's the occupancy. So you can see that we're 80% full. We're going to be like, we're getting, we'll always be like 80-85% full right now. That's a good number right now to be at. It's hard to be 90% full right now, but a year ago, everybody was 90% full, and now it's just kind of down a little bit. So it's just how the market goes. We typically run our numbers at 90% full is what we do. And then you just know that, like, and sometimes you have an up period and sometimes you have a down period. And let's see, vacancy is 17%, and then complementary, that's our 1 unit. Okay, so we're at 7,900 square feet total, including the parking. All right, the vacant is 1,750, which is 9,800 square feet. And so that kind of shows you here. And then this is the potential. If we were 100% full on our storage units, right, plus the vacancy, this is what we should be making for the rentals, for just the rentals, not including the fees. Okay. So our economic occupancy is So 4,770 plus 1,000, so 5,984 is what we're supposed to be making. All right, and then that's not including the fees. Okay, and then 80% and 17% potential. My rent right now, so rent right now is 4612. Oh yeah, another thing I want to talk about too is that like this number here is based off of like the rate that you put into storage. And like what, because like what the way it works with pricing is you can have like, I think up to like 6 different prices. And we have like a lot of different prices. We have our standard rate, we have a managed rate, we have a website rate, a spare foot rate, a promo rate. We got like all kinds of different rates. Okay. So like what it's doing is it's taking like I think it's what your managed rate is. And then that's the number that it comes up with. But as you can see here, because of all the different rates and prices that we have, like we'll have promos in some places, or we'll have high numbers in one place, and a different rate place we'll have another. So that's why the number is a little bit higher. So we're 80% full and we're making $4,600 a month. Okay, right? So also on top of that, what we do is we do what's called dynamic pricing. And dynamic pricing means that at 80% full, our price for the 10 by 10 is this. And at 90% full, our price is this. And at like 98% full, that price for that very last unit is like super duper high. And so because of that, we don't have any one particular price for any unit at all. Right? We don't just say like, okay, all of our 10 by 10s are, $80, and that's just what it is. But it's all based off of like either what type of price we have, what type of rate we have, or it's based off of what our occupancy is. So that's why, when you think of storage and when you think of like running deal analysis, like you do not want to just have like one price for each unit in mind. You want to be able to, say, okay, like if I'm at 80%, I'll make this much. And if at 90%, I'll this much, and 95% on this much, based off of each unit size and each rate that I have, depending on what I'm offering. Does that make sense? So it's kind of a little bit complicated, but StorageNerds manages that for us. StorageNerds is one of the only softwares that allows you to have a whole bunch of different rates and also allows you to do dynamic pricing at the same time. Okay, so what that is, total what I just explained to you, and I've done that over and over. I've explained it many, many times, but that is called, it's called revenue management is what it's called. Okay, and so that whole, like we go over that in our boot camp, our management boot camp in the coaching program. But that's basically what it is how to do revenue management with inside your. Now, if you are looking at your facility, like if you wanted to buy this facility from us, like you would want to actually, look at like what the opportunity of the facility is, and just having like one price and looking at it is like kind of just cuts you short a little bit. And it gives you like your bottom line. The truth is you could make really way more money than that if you understood revenue management. All right. Okay, finally, we have rental activity, because you could see, so this month we've had 3 move-ins, and this year we've had 10 year to date. We've had 4 move-outs this month and 12 year to date. So we're actually like -1, -2. Okay, and that fluctuates. I'm telling you, you see, look, every month, look, we have 6 reservations right now, like people trying to move in. So it's just like, it's hard to kind of tell. If there's no like real balance on anything, because every month is just different. But what I can say is that the market is getting way better. Like last year, it was really hard to get rentals. People were dropping their prices and stuff, and really trying to figure out what that kind of baseline was going to be. We kind of figured out our prices, and now people are actually starting to move in. You have to figure out what the price people are willing to spend at the time of the market. Obviously, 2 years ago, people wanted to spend a lot of money, and now they don't really want to spend that much money. But the truth is over time, if you own this property for 5 years or 10 years, I mean, the market, I mean, it just looks like this, so you just have to have kind of that line. Okay. It's a game, basically, what it is. Okay, finally. Okay, so this is the management summary. So this summary is also inside the portal. I mean, inside the Google folder, the Google Drive folder. So you could see here that I have financials. And inside the financials, we have, let me see if we can figure this out. Yeah, occupancy, which is like I'll show you what it looks like. Occupancy is like what size and then what's occupied and not occupied right now. It's occupancy report. Okay, so this is one of the reports. It's like an important report that you should be looking at. The management summary report as of December 31st, and then also as of March 31st. Okay, is what it is. And then finally, the annual revenue as of April 5th, I pulled it. And like, so you could see how much up through now, because like we are making more, you make more money. We're making more money now. Let's see if I could pull that. Let's see, it goes here, management summary. And then you go to the 17th, you generate your report. So you can see as of right now for this month, we have $4,884. Last month was 64, right? 6,400. But this is as of the 17th. So we still have to get everybody to pay. And then we have $21,000 year to date, right? So that's kind of how you look at it. Look, we're 84% occupied right now. So we're even more occupied than we were on the 31st. So the 31st, we were at 80 units. And now we're at like 84 or 84%, right? So look, we're +3 as of right now, +3. And we had 42 move-ins, 5 move-ins so far this month. So like the market, and when you start really looking at these these numbers on a regular basis, every month we look at all of our numbers for all of our facilities, you will start to see like now that the market's going up because there's more move-ins coming up, and you play with the prices and this kind of stuff. It's really fun. I like it. Okay, so this is the Noonan store. This is the Noonan self-storage. Okay, this is the one that we want to sell. So if you're interested, you're more than welcome to message me, and I can give you access to this folder so that you can make an offer for us. And I'm going to start really pitching it out here in the next week or two, but I figured I would just let everybody know if you're interested. Anybody that's listening, we are open to getting offers on this deal and this facility. And other than that, I think that's kind of it. And then somebody's asking about analyzing the deal. Let me see, share the screen here. Yeah, this is it here. So we offer, like, I'm not going to give you our deal analyzer, right? You need to have your own deal analysis, right? You need to be able to run your own deal analysis. But on our deal analyzer, you can see that we have the annual income is 36,874, 55 units, 5,200 square feet, 30% vacancy. This numbers are actually wrong, right? I have this old deal analyzer. I haven't updated it. But when you run your deal analysis, you'll need to be able to have all this information, plus what your opportunity is going to be, plus your competitive analysis, right? This is your competitive analysis. This is all of the facilities and what they're charging, plus the unit mix, right? That we only have the 3 unit sizes, if you remember. And then look, we have our 3 parking right here. So we're running our numbers off of unit mix and parking. And we're putting the info into the sheet, what our expenses are going to be, this kind of stuff. And then this, expenses and things like this are in there. And that is how you run deal analysis. So I'm not going to get too much into it. You're more than welcome to buy this deal analyzer, and then you could take the information, and anything in yellow is what you want to put in from the documents that you get. All right, from me or from anybody else. You can use this for any deal. But basically you're inputting your inputs. All right, you're looking at your opportunity, and you're looking at your expenses. You're looking at your unit mix and inputting all your unit mix. You're inputting your competition. Oops, get this out. Inputting competition. And then you get to look at your valuations, and you get to see like what the potential is on a property like this. Okay, then you make an offer. Now, remember, I told you that your financing inputs are one of the most important parts of deal analysis. So when you run your deal analysis, you want to make a cash offer. We make 3 owner financing offers, and we make a bank financing offer. So there's 3 different offers. And that's what our deal analyzer does. At least you can do whatever kind of offers you want, but this is kind of what we do. Every single one of our deals, this is what we come up with. So, and when you run your financing inputs, you can see here on your owner financing offers, you're looking at your down payment, your interest rate, your loan, your length of the loan, your amortization, how long you're going to have it, what's your interest rates, and then you can figure out what your purchase price is. All right, that's how you're running deal analysis. So you have to have your inputs, you have to have your unit mix, you have to have your competition. You have to also put your financing inputs in, and then from there, you can look at your cash flow and you can look at your valuations. That's how you run deal analysis. Okay, everything that you need for, if you wanted to make an offer on this property, will be in the folder. Just email me. It's at questions@stacyrossetti.com. That's the email that you can email, and we'll share the folder with you. And Dana's asking, how do you obtain the 3-5 mile radius? There's like population websites out there that I can't remember what we use, but there's population websites where you can get population within areas. Okay, they should definitely be out there. Just search like population website. Okay, and then where can I learn about creative deal structuring in terms of for the storage units? Yeah, so I mean, essentially in the course, I go over this, and then here I'm going over this, in the coaching program, anytime, I would say most of the time, I'll be probably one of the bigger ones that teaches the creative deal structuring for storage, right? So I would go back, listen to my podcast, this kind of stuff, or if you buy the deal analyzer, it comes with a course and it talks about how to run all the numbers for that. And that's really going to be the easiest way. I just say buy the deal analyzer and just go through the course. Okay. Anything else? Any other final questions on this deal or anything else I went over? All right. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys at the next session. Take care.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Storage Nerds. Hope this informative conversation inspired you to go out there and jump into this highly profitable business venture that people rarely talk about. Get more tips on storage space investing at www.stacyrossetti.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave a rating. Together, let's build that thriving passive income one storage space at a time. Until next time.